Hey guys, Peter here to do an album review, and today I'm here to talk to you guys about the brand new At the Gates to Drink from the Night Itself. To me, this is really an album of two halves. It really feels like the album is broken down into two parts, but I'll explain you guys what I mean. The album has 12 tracks, is 45 minutes in length, unless you get a special edition CD that comes with a second CD with additional 5 tracks. The first track of the album is an instrumental track that really bleeds into the second track, which is To Drink from the Night Itself, which was the first single. So when you really look at that, the album really has 11 tracks, because that first instrumental track could easily be part of To Drink from the Night Itself song. It really bleeds into it, and it really is the lead into the perfect, I would say, the perfect lead in into that song and the perfect start to the album, because it's just absolute blast of sound and power and brutality with those two songs coming right at you at the beginning. That instrumental track gives a lot of doom elements to the start of the album, gives a lot of darkness and despair, and then To Drink from the Night Itself kicks in, and it's just brutality all the way through. And then the album really carries on from that point forward. But like I said, the album really feels like two different worlds. The first part of the album really feels like more old school At the Gates. Their DNA, they've tried and tested formulas. They know what works. They know what their sound is all about, and they really expose that sound in that first half of the album. It really feels like a throwback to their earlier work. The second half of the album has a little bit more experimental elements, has a little bit more of doom, has a little bit more atmospheric elements in it. I would even go as far as saying there's a little bit of black metal elements into it, a little bit in that second half of the album. So that second half to me really felt that it's perhaps them taking a few steps towards growth and towards new things. But my negative is really that they didn't do enough of it. I was really hoping that they would not only incorporate a lot of what we know At the Gates to be their DNA, their sound, their specific sound, but I was really hoping that they would incorporate a lot of other elements to really create a new fresh sound, a new fresh look at the Gates. They give us glimpse in that second half of the album and in some songs, but to me it was a missed opportunity. I was really hoping that they would do more of it. Maybe later on, maybe in the future, we'll look back and we'll see this album as a stepping stone towards a more innovative album in the future. Not a complete far departure from their original sound. That's not what I'm talking about. But incorporate their original sound, but then incorporate other elements that just expand on that sound, that give the sound layers, that give a life to the album, and give it layers, and it gives a thickness to the album. I really feel that they give us glimpse, like I said, but they didn't do enough of it. And to me, that's the main negative, the main drawback with this album. And that's really, to me, what holds back this album from taking it from being a really good album to being a great album. To me, it's what holds it back. One of the key components of this album is Thomas's vocals. I have to mention that because it's just absolutely incredible for me. For every single song, this guy delivers with every single song. It has the perfect pitch, he has the perfect delivery, he really has the perfect voice for this band and for their sound. And I really feel that if they go into more that atmospheric element and incorporate a little bit of doom into their music, he's really the perfect frontman to really deliver that, because I really feel that he has the perfect tone and he has the perfect vocal delivery to really incorporate all of those elements and really make them work with the more traditional At the Gates sound as well. So I really feel that, to me, his vocals were the highlight of the album, if you don't mind me saying. That to me was the feeling that I got. Now, as far as favorite songs are concerned, I really have to mention 3 that spoke to me the first time I heard the album, and then it didn't matter how many times I played this album, these 3 songs kept coming back at me as my favorites. The first one is To Drink from the Night Itself. It was the first single to come off of this album, and to me, this is truly At the Gates DNA at its best. When you look at this song, at the way it's put together, it really has that At the Gates familiar sound. The guitar melodies in this song are just, they're so beautiful and full of despair at the same time. There's so much darkness and beauty together into those guitar melodies. The chorus it's one of the best choruses I find, and I'm glad that this was the first single and it was the second song of the album, because it really allowed me to have that easy introduction to the album with a song that I was already familiar with. And let's not forget, there's a little piece of drumming in this song right before the first chorus, with all you hear is the drummer going off, it's just badass at the gates. This song is to me vintage at the gates, and to me was the perfect start of the album. I was really happy to see this song as the second song after that instrumental intro that bleeds into this one. I really like that. To me, this is one of the best songs of the album. Another one I have to mention is Daggers of Black Haze. This is also another single that was released. I really like this song because unlike the first one, The Drink from the Night itself, this one to me, it really incorporated a little bit of more of a doom metal vibe to it. The keyboard at the start of the song is so ominous and dark, almost sounds like something that would be played at a funeral. So it has that very dark, atmospheric element to it, and I really like that. It really changed the dynamic of the song, and I really enjoyed that. And I also enjoyed in this song a lot of acoustic guitar in this song. There's a little bridge in the middle of the song with the acoustic guitar that just, once again, it replaces the darkness and disparity of the keyboard that starts the song. That is still sprinkled in a very few spots throughout the song. Very few spots. It was more right at the beginning of the song, and then that despair, that darkness, that sense of and being uneasy is replaced with the acoustic guitar. There's a bridge in the middle, and then the song also finishes off with a little bit of an acoustic guitar at the end. I really like that because it was a really well thought out and well used of the acoustic guitar in that element. I thought it was a really cool dynamic to see, starting off with the keyboard and then incorporating the acoustic guitar, and in the middle of that you have just brutal guitars and brutal drumming, and then obviously Thomas's vocals that raps. It's the rapper that brings it all together. I think this song is really cool with those elements, and like I said, it really adds a little bit of a doom vibe to the song, and then that song gives a little bit of doom vibe to the album, that you'll then see sprinkled in here and there in a few other songs. The last song I have to mention is The Labyrinth of Tombs. I think this song, when you talk about despair and darkness, it keeps growing with every song that I mention. The first song, To Drink from the Night itself, is more typical At the Gates DNA. Then Daggers of Black Haze starts to incorporate a little bit of that doom and darkness and despair to it. And then A Labyrinth of Tombs is like the climax of that darkness and despair. I really like it, especially around the chorus. The chorus is so it's so thick when it comes to that kind of feeling of being uneasy, but so melodic at the same time. And I really feel that this song really has such a cool dynamic between two metal genres, if you will. This song to me is really a struggle between your more typical melodic death metal song and then your more doom, atmospheric black metal song. It really, to me, it really feels like a combination of those two genres, or three genres, if you will. But it really feels like there's a good dynamic between them, where you have one genre that is predominant throughout the song, and then you have a different one that is predominant throughout the chorus. And to me, it's just a song that really contrasts darkness and beauty with brutality. This song really gives you a little bit of both worlds, and perhaps a glimpse into what we could expect in the future from At the Gates, which could be a little bit of these two worlds. And I think this is one of those songs where they experimented a little bit more with, and I would really like to see a little bit more of this incorporation of different styles into one song, and just giving the listener, when you listen to this song, really giving the listener a real feel of being uneasy, just because of that combination of darkness and despair with brutality is just so vivid, and it's like a switch that goes on and off throughout the song. I absolutely love it. I thought it was a really well orchestrated song. Really enjoyed it. This is it. This is At the Gates, To Drink from the Night itself. Like I said, this is a good album, not an insane album, not a great album, but a really strong, solid album, and perhaps a glimpse to what we could expect from At the Gates with future releases. All right, guys, now let me know in the comment section what your thoughts are about At the Gates, To Drink from the Night itself. I'm looking forward to hearing what your favorite songs are. Do you agree with my views? Do you have different views? What's your overall thoughts about this new At the Gates album? Let me know in the comment section below. I'll be reading your comments and replying to them. Take care, guys.